Good morning, Ram. I've loved sitting down with you and talking. I know it's our second time, so we've had a little bit more time to talk about things that we share and have interest in. But I think the big topic that is really out there that's huge is data. And people tend to think, I think, that it's almost like an inanimate object that's sitting out there, historical data. Tell me what's your take on data as the city's CIO?
Thank you, Jimmy, for having me here. I'm so excited, and the reason is because data is so core to my heart.
Yeah.
I have been working for probably last 10 years on data and building data platforms in my previous life before the city of Aurora, building data platforms for different financial institutions. So I understand the value of data, what data is. So data is like a piece of information that you can see, you want to comprehend, and you want to understand, and you want to get meaningful outcomes of. So data can provide you insight, data can provide you comprehension, and data can provide you learning from the past, and data can also teach you how to behave or how to do things based on the past and based on how you do currently in current time frame. And data can also shape your future, like how you can redefine things that you have been doing in past for a better future. So to me, I think if like data used in the right direction, then it can create meaningful outcomes. And that's one of my priorities as well here at City of Aurora, like data driven decision making. So any decision that city takes, I want to make sure that data is behind, and we leverage all the data across the city departments. We centralize it, and we inject into like Power BI, or maybe in future through machine learning, and see how data can empower the city officials, the council members, and also the mayor or me or the residents of Aurora.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. I mean, I have an undergraduate degree in botany, and we studied, the natural world. But there's this biologist, this person that said that those of our ancestors who failed to recognize the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and a gazelle failed to become our ancestors. So, data is at its very core is like recognition of
Yeah.
your surroundings, like
Yeah.
what's good and what's bad,
Yeah.
what's helpful, what's harmful. How do you see the collect? So there's the collection of data,
Yeah.
and then there is then the management of that data, and
Yeah.
then there's like the exercise of that
Yeah.
data.
Yeah.
How's that feeding into your vision for long term? And I know quantum computing is sort of an
Yeah.
endpoint
Yeah.
there, but walk me through some of your thinking in that.
So if you see, like I can give you the example from the financial sector and now municipalities, right? There's a lot of data that is there. And the data is there from like what kind of complaints are coming every day from citizens. So that data is there. So you can see the trend where we can fix the problems, right? The data is there with the police department, like how they are functioning, how they are reacting, and how they are proactively putting things together so we can reduce the number of calls or what kind of calls are coming, which neighborhoods are calling. I think we need to see how frequently we use that kind of analysis, how frequently we go into insights of that kind of
Yeah.
data sort of transformation, and also getting meaning out of it. So it comes, as you said, like it all comes from acquiring the data. Like you need to first understand what kind of data you want to acquire. The data can be acquired from websites, different articles, because you need to understand all kind of data, structured, unstructured, and all that. And there's a data across the cities, and as I said, in the financial sector as well, there's a data with different departments in different applications. So that data, if you start getting out and start centralizing that data, there's a concept of data lake where you bring everything as it is, and you drop like a lake, and let the machine learning kind of get meaningful outcomes of that data.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're bringing everything together. You're just dropping as it is. Yes, there's a cost of data storage, but that cost is very negligent when you compare with the meaningful outcomes that data will generate. So so in the data lake, you are getting the data in a raw form, you dumping as it is, and then also you are transforming the data, you are enriching it, you are catering to your organization's perspective, right? So then you are like putting some rules and processes and making sure the data is shaped to your purpose, right?
Right.
So then the data is kind of you can call it a gold copy of the data, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That you're gonna always go to. It's like source of truth
Yes.
for your team, for your organization, depending on the scope of the data, right?
Yeah.
Or for your country, right? If you're talking at a federal level, right? For city, like, and then once you have that gold copy of the data, and also you have the raw copy of the data, so the everything is at the common place, and now you can start like. Now you want meaningful data outcomes, now you want insight, now you want the analysis, so then you can feed the data into analytical platforms, you can feed into again machine learning, you can like now you can have like what you have built in the talk lab, that model that you built. So whatever me and you are having this dialogue, all these transcripts can be analyzed,
Yeah.
and then you can see where we can improve, what we are trying to say, what kind of audience we are catering.
Yeah.
Your algorithm does everything. Similarly, if you feed that with the right machine learning models, that data can give you insights that you can never imagine, and then you can reduce your cost on the resources, because data is giving you everything, right?
Yeah.
And you can maybe use in next 4 years or so, or even now exactly, you can start experimenting on using agentic AI.
Yes.
So when you go to a lawyer or you go to a HR person, you ask question, and what they say, okay, according to the process or according to the documentation, this is what you should do. This is the salary of that person, right? Or these are the rules that you need to follow. These are the protocols for work from home, or working from in work in office or work from home, whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or if you go to a lawyer, he would read something and he would. Agentic AI can do all these things
Yes.
and much faster
Yes.
and more accurately, because then you don't have a personal bias there. So there is immense use if you see from acquisition to transformation to the analytical shape of the data. And then comes the AI and machine learning. Like everyone is talking about AI and machine learning, which is like machine learning to me is like applying math, applying the real math, and creating the pattern out of the use of the data,
Yeah.
about the behavior and about
You know,
everything.
maybe
So
a little
yeah.
more insight on that for people, because I think sometimes all this is a little bit new to everyone.
Yeah.
But when you think about the algorithm, what we're looking at is patterns, math patterns, but because of the speed of chips, because what NVIDIA did and what they were
Yeah.
ready for, they had this GPU, this basically what people would have thought before AI was sort of a gaming chip, but it's able to look at imagery, it's able to look at language, it's able to quickly process the algorithm at speeds that no one's ever experienced before. So here we are. What does that mean? What does quantum computing mean for data? Like, where's that take us?
Thank you for bringing that topic, because that's something that I'm imagining for future, not only for humanity but also for Aurora, because we have, I keep talking about this, and this is like very core to my heart again. We have the fiber optic infrastructure that can play an instrumental role in shaping the Aurora and shaping the quantum computing in future.
Yeah.
And what quantum computing is like, getting the processing power to another magnitude. So what you do with these GPUs that Jensen Huang brought, through a table from through NVIDIA, like he was, struggling for many years, like getting his idea to a table, and he was very patient. He was making money, but not to that magnitude, right? But he brought the GPUs, which were processing the data very fast, like gaming data, because you see a lot of videos and images, different kind of data. So then what he did, he applied the similar logic to the real data, the math, right? And then he started processing that data fast. So the CPUs that will take days to process a certain algorithm. Think about it. if you have been doing these podcasts for last 10 years and you have terabytes of data, petabytes of data, it's going to take time to get meaningful outcome if you want to process all the data, unless you have scoped for a year or 6 months. But if you want to process all 10 years of data and let machine learning give you some insights, it's going to take months and years, right, to process that data. So with quantum computing, that will be reduced to hours. That's the magnitude we are talking about.
Yeah.
Because now you are empowering and you are powering your chips to like do the years of work in a day. And think about it, if you have the right question to ask, and if these quantum computing is sort of injected into Gen AI, you're talking about different outcomes. So I myself use sometimes thanks to generative AI, Cursor and Gemini and Chat GPT and Anthropic and all these tools that can empower people like me, executives who don't have time to code now, but passionate for coding. I can also code. So during the weekend, sometimes I spend my time in coding. And what I see, like if I give my thought process in a just paragraph, and I get the code, foundational code. And now what I'm seeing with ChatGPT 5.0,
Right.
if you're giving like hell lot of like um, methods and your thought process, it's taking time because you have a big code and now you want to improve it.
Yeah.
And you want to put certain mathematical logic into it. So it's thinking and it's taking long. And now my patience, because I have seen it's helping me, but now I want to evolve, right? So sometimes I get impatient. So think about it now. The Chat GPT or the machine learning or what Jensen Huang has provided, these faster CPUs or GPUs, they are also not able to help me. So quantum computing is the future,
Yeah.
where developers would like to get the fast response. They want to know how things that would be done in months, how it can be done in weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so for anyone wanting to frame that up, what's happening when I'm using the pro version for thinking. When you're in ChatGPT and you have something that you're going to set up a prompt and you're thinking, okay, I want this to do research first. I want to bring in as much of the resource of data information that's out there. It takes, it can take 5-6 minutes for it to process through that. And currently what I'll do is on one screen, it's prompting, or I'll do it put it in my pocket and then move on to a different task.
Do you get impatient that time?
If I need it right away. In fact, the other day I was meeting with the bank and I was running a final analysis to present to the bank. And my son had come in because he homeschools here, and we call it building school. But at building school, I had been in chat with him, creating sort of the day's curriculum for him. So I was creating his curriculum. I was like, David, I have this important meeting coming up, but I want to run through this with you. So at the last minute, I'm waiting for it to process through this. But what you're saying is all of that goes away with quantum.
Yeah.
Where is quantum for Aurora? Where does that land squarely as a way that would affect citizens, the economy? Is that something that we're inviting companies to build quantum facilities, to build data centers, to build energy platforms? Like what's the ecosystem look like for quantum?
We have everything. We have all the ecosystem, and I think in next few years, the platform is there. We have fiber. That's a basic necessity of like fast computing or fast data transfer, quality data transfer. So we have the fiber, and in fact we have you wrap the fiber in a plastic. I forgot the term, like conduit. So we also have like two conduit that are empty, and we can even like if we have the money coming, we can like even like upgrade that infrastructure more. So we have room for upgrade. We are already providing like fast internet through OnLight. They lease our infrastructure, but we have room to upgrade. So that's one. Now I'm talking to different CIOs, city of Chattanooga, city of Phoenix, and these are just few names. They are also like on the path of smart city initiatives. They are also bringing quantum computing companies. So what quantum computing companies needs? They need they need like fiber, and they need the vision from the administration, so that they don't have those bureaucratic hurdles, right? Constraints, which I think our administration is gonna be very willing to work with them. And also, I think at federal level, also I think we would like to see some grants coming, so that US is ready on that front. We don't want other countries to take a step,
Yeah.
before us, because that's a future.
It's competition, like,
It's a competition, and that's
it's not to cause harm to other economies, but economies are systems that work when there's leaders.
Yeah, if you,
and we
and,
want to lead.
and if you see, like, in current situation, like what we are seeing with China and other countries, I think US has this tool, AI, quantum, machine learning, where we have edge, and we just need to keep investing into it.
Yeah.
So we will definitely need some federal money, state money to, like, and work with these companies, quantum computing companies, whether it's Microsoft or Nvidia or other smaller companies, and provide them platform. And we are close to Chicago. So what you need, like, if you open a company, like, you need high skilled workers, right? So, as I was telling you earlier, if you start from Butterfield on Eola and you go all the way on Eola and Route 59, there are people like who are working in high frequency trading firms in Chicago, right? So we have great skills in a 7 mile radius.
Right.
They don't need to go to, travel every day 40 miles, 50 miles, spend 2 hours in traffic, like on
Right.
I-88 and 290. You don't want to do that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If in 7 mile, 10 mile radius you provide that kind of work, you will get all these people who can like do wonders. And also, I feel that once we have this word going out, there will be a lot of investors who want to invest, because that's the future.
Yeah.
That's the future for not only for processing power, but also for the high frequency trading. Think about it nowadays. When I meet people, this is the 10 years, if I see the gap, like 10 years back and now, very few people were uh, financially literated. Now people know how to manage their finances, where to invest money. With Robinhood, there's a lot of craze in Gen Z, and everyone, like, investing can return magnitude of, like, results and wealth to them.
Yeah.
So now everyone is investing. You can talk to anyone and people know about stocks. Oh yeah, Nvidia is doing this now. Oracle, yesterday, was able to beat and have a great outlook, and their stocks were 35% up. So what's coming next is high frequency trading, where everyone is gonna be like, I'm impatient on coding. Similarly, people are becoming impatient. They want 24/7 trading, and they want to trade fast.
Yeah.
So that's another thing where quantum computing can help
Yeah. And
bring
that,
high frequency trading, and Aurora is also ready for that with fiber.
yeah, and that means the competitive difference, that if you can place a trade faster than, if the market changes, seconds, milliseconds make a difference, and
Exactly.
it can make millions or
Yeah.
magnitudes of return just in being fast. So this region, Chicagoland region, with Aurora being, in a really unique situation. We have all these communities that are west and south of us that are growing. Oswego,
Yeah.
Plainfield,
Yeah.
they're growing so quickly. So we have all this brain trust in the area. We have this market that's ready. We have these big questions of where we're headed, which means we have to get together and think about that. So you've had a vision for a conference.
Yeah.
Tell me what that looks like. What is your you have a heart for bringing people together. We've talked about that. So tell me a little bit about what you're imagining in doing that.
So anything is possible if you collaborate, you work together, and you experiment, and you brainstorm ideas. That's my philosophy. And I have seen that philosophy working in a practical life as well. So in order to take that one step further, what I wanted to do in Aurora, place like this, right, which is ready for any for hosting any, like, magnificent tech conference. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to bring vendors, our partners, like Aurora's partners, but other vendors also here, and then create a platform for them so they can talk to tech executives. CIOs, CTOs from counties, from cities, from state, from private companies, and we give them a platform where they bring their ideas, how they are experimenting on emerging technologies, how they are getting ready themselves for quantum computing or for data insights, and what they are doing with data, what they are doing with AI, or what they are doing with other emerging technologies
Yeah.
that we don't know,
Yeah.
right? That can transform the lives and that can transform the world in a positive way.
Right.
So my vision was to provide them a platform for that collaboration,
Yeah.
where day long or 2 day long we start like early morning, and late evening we collaborate, we experiment, we talk, maybe we code together, and we build ideas together, we
Yeah.
shape the outcomes for future. And vendors also should be excited to share, because they also getting a platform to talk to executives who are facing problems. We all face problem every day, and we
Yeah.
are looking for solutions, but we don't know which vendor we need to go. So my idea is, like in Aurora, if we can take a lead and bring these vendors and executives together, and shape for the future.
Yeah. So innovate, like getting people together to not just network or sell to each other, but to literally innovate, to look for empowerment that they wouldn't have found otherwise. So bringing that kind of community together and doing that on a regular basis, I
Yeah.
think is absolutely a powerful idea and something that we've hungered for and waited on for quite a while. And so I think that's what we're ready for. We're ready for that. We have, a lot of things that we have in place that we could share some of that knowledge. Like we've got the talkingcities.com platform that we want to share this knowledge with people and give platform. So I love it that that is it. And it's kind of a little bit like an answer to education beyond, what we did in school. Like we need marketplace education because we're all in this together. And to be regionally significant, if we can find synergies that way, it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, and more I come to your place and talk to you, I get like more excited about this vision. We have a platform, we have the stage, we just need to bring the actors together, right?
Yeah.
And the show is going to be magnificent.
Yeah.
And when I talk to my partners, our vendors, who are doing amazing jobs, solving problems that cities facing, they are also very excited. But let's see, if how far we can go on that idea.
What when we were talking a little bit, I had read an article this morning in Fast Company, and it was kind of, I mean, if you're looking ahead, you saw the crisis of, I think during COVID, what we saw was, we remove kids from the classroom, and there's a lot of thinkers like not Edward de Bono, I'm thinking of Sir Ken Robertson, who talks about, kids have been criticized for looking, he would say, if you look in the back of the book for the answer, you're cheating. But now with AI, the question is education, it was a big task for him to say, how are we going to handle artificial intelligence? And what happened was time moved on, and now we're a couple years into it. And the article in Fast Company is basically saying, there's a crisis, it's tension where kids in school are not quite up to speed on generative AI, but in the marketplace, there's a demand. I can't imagine an entry-level person being hired without generative AI understanding or comfort. So how do you reconcile that? And I know we have incredible institutions in Aurora. We've got a lot of institutions. We've got IMSA, we've got Wabanzi, we've got AU, we have our high schools. How do you see inviting those thinkers to the table to get them innovating and ideating around that?
So this is a very good question, and I think a lot of parents like myself, yourself, are facing. And I'll have to give a long answer to this.
Yeah.
I think this is an opportunity for a couple of things. The opportunity for literacy. So we should focus more on literacy rather than how we are becoming literate.
Yeah.
I think we need to have that, different thinking, like whether generative AI is helping in literacy or not, like bringing more books. Now, probably, if I want to say what Mahatma Gandhi said about this, I can go to Chat GPT and I can
Yeah.
quickly find it, right?
Yeah.
In a nice manner. If I say, okay, I'm writing this poem, can you help me? I can get help, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's, in my view, I think if we focus on literacy, we will have a different lens. That's one. The second thing is, I think it's an opportunity to bring some sort of solution or some sort of different thinking for our schools evaluation as well.
Mm-hmm.
How do we empower our teachers? I think we have been using a frame for a
Mm-hmm.
long time, like kids study, they write an exam, teachers evaluate, right?
Right.
We need to think differently now.
Mm.
What our teachers need to do in future in order to cater to this technology, because more and more you constrain, you're gonna go back.
Yeah.
But if you use the tools in the right direction, I gave you the example earlier to you for the phone. Like if you give a smartphone to your kid, they can just keep watching the videos and spend their time.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if they're playing games for 30 minutes, 1 hour, they are getting some entertainment. But if they are playing for 6 hours, obviously it's a misuse of the phone. But then
Right.
phone has a camera, phone has many things
Yeah.
that can empower them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to cater to that, like how we educate our kids. They cannot live without a smartphone.
Yeah.
We are in that age. We cannot go back like where we give them no phone.
Yeah.
So now how do we control that? Similarly, how do we train our teachers? How do we train our staff? How do we train our school? So school system need to change, in my view.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot keep having 30-year-old system.
Yeah.
Like you have, I think, grown up here, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in India, but things have changed. Like 30 year back, the way teachers used to teach is different the way they teach now.
Mm-hmm.
Now more extracurriculars are coming. So things, we need to evolve on that front as well.
Yeah.
That's my view. And I see your example, like when you were talking about hey, I was working with my son on this Gen AI coding.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier you were giving me an example, like you took some pictures and then you were working with your
Mm-hmm.
son. So that's another way of bringing literacy.
Yeah.
You are getting them ready for the next stage if you have the right and ethical use of the AI.
Yeah, yeah, and it kind of goes full circle in that. I think of a lot of my master's was in visual communication. So when I collect visual information, that's visual data. I mean, it is visual data. So the phone itself is really a tool for collecting data or consuming data.
Yeah.
So if you're on the consumer side of it, it can become a problem. But if you can get young people to understand it's a collection device. It's like the greatest scientific collection tool. I did a research project in the Bahamas years ago, and this was 28 years ago, and I had the very first GPS unit where we were going around and I was getting waypoints, triangulation for where I was on this trip across this island. It was bigger than a phone, but today you could gather any kind of what you would often say is observable scientific data.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's the phone. It's the recording. It's the natural language audio.
Yeah.
You have the GPT built into it. So getting people to think that way. What do you think the barriers are to getting people, educators, on board with this kind of very fast-paced, disruptive kind of thinking?
So I'll give you two examples before I get to the answer of that, because they were popping up in my head as you were giving the example. So my son went to in his freshman year of college. He was part of group of kids. He went to San Francisco. I think YouTube's founder is from Urbana University of Illinois.
Steve Chen,
Yeah, and there's another kid. Actually, there were two, I think.
Okay.
So they invite some kids to San Francisco, and they have nice plan for them for a week. Like they meet with the CTOs and all that during breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Anyways, so I think he met one of the executive, and he said something that he noted down, and he's told me also, whenever I'm spending a lot of time on TV and phone, he's always telling me so that thing was consume less, produce more. I think that's what you were saying
Yeah,
earlier,
that's
right?
it, yeah.
So if you can consume less and produce more, if you have that philosophy, then all these tools, become very useful, or they become friend with you.
Yeah.
Another thing was popping up in my head when I was a kid. I remember, I think it was in middle school, they experimented for one subject, that like for rest of the subject you prepare yourself and you will get questions in the exam and you will write answers, right? For one subject, they said you can bring your book, textbook,
Yeah.
in the exam. So most of the kids want to study anything, right? Because we have a book, right? And the questions are there and then you have to find the answers. They were struggling.
Yeah.
And the rate of failure in that subject was like rapidly growing. The reason is because still you need to study.
Yeah.
You cannot just get a book and find
Yeah.
answers. Even we give you platform for cheating. So I think with generative AI is also like with chat GPT also it's the same thing. If you are not paying attention to your textbook, or if you're not paying attention to your teacher, I don't think you will be able to use that tool right, and you will not be able to find the right answers, right?
Right.
Again, I'm not sure, like I think I need to think more. But again, I'll go back to what I was saying earlier. I think we need to revisit our school frameworks, how we have been teaching, how we have been evaluating. Probably we need to provide more tools to teachers to empower their life. Maybe automate. I think teachers jobs should be to focus on teaching, not more on evaluation. I think the evaluation can be done automatically now.
Oh, yeah,
We have
now it
tools, right?
Yes.
So that, and those tools can easily identify if the thought process from the kid has gone or not.
Yeah.
So maybe that can be like one step. And those
Yeah.
are the ideas
That's
we will
a
discuss.
huge idea.
And those are the ideas we discuss when we bring these technology executives and vendors together, best of the brains together, and then we see those ideas are flourishing not only for solving day-to-day problems but for schools and other areas, right? I think you brought a very good question and it just popped up into my head that teachers should be just teaching.
It's brilliant. So that's they know the subject matter. They teach it. One of the things that really became apparent to me, I did an interdisciplinary studies undergraduate degree, and that changed my understanding of how you process information. Right. So some people process verbally. Some people are visual.
Yes, yeah.
Some people are savants at writing. You know.
Yeah.
But when you test everyone the same way, you you skew the data, you skew the outcomes, and you really hurt kids.
That's true.
But with generative AI, I mean, you open up an opportunity where you can evaluate in different ways. Like you said, you could evaluate asking somebody, do they have comprehension? You could evaluate the comprehension just in an interview, in a process. Do they know the subject matter?
I think we need to have that kind of a school where we experiment different ideas.
Yeah.
And I think see how they work.
I would love to do that. In fact, I mean, I think that's sometimes the one thing I'm, as a parent, constantly thinking about is, are we doing the right thing with our kids? Of course, I think every parent does. And we've made the choice that we're going to lean into where we're currently at in the marketplace, because I'm meeting leaders, like people that run companies that are hungry to learn what's next. Why wouldn't I want to introduce my kids to that exact same thinking instead of the latency of them exiting school at 18, or thinking about maybe going to college? That is that's not, to me, that thing, it feels historical. I did it. Do I want my kids to do the same thing? I think we have to reinvent the way that we create critical thinking in people, because the tools, generative AI is essentially the most prolific thinking tool that in human history. So we need critical thinkers.
And also, I think it's an opportunity where people find room in improving that Gen AI piece or tool to provide the feedback. And this is very much driven by the models that you are putting behind, right? So how can we improve those models? That can be another topic of discussion and thread, where all these providers of the tool, like whether it's OpenAI, or it's like Amazon, Google, they open a thread to get the feedback from people, like what kind of negative information or wrong information you're receiving, so that they also correct their algorithm. Because here now there's a machine who's learning,
Yeah.
there's a machine which is evolving, there's a machine which is working on the data, and trying to understand the behavior, trying to understand the pattern, and trying to then give you the right answer. So if like these platforms or these companies also have that dialogue with institutions, I think that can also correct the course wherever we find problems.
Well, and, it kind of goes back to the point I was making about interdisciplinary thinking. But if you try to operate anything from a singular point of view, you're going to leave out a lot of different opportunities where the data is rich, where the data could be collected. So if industry isn't interfacing with education and government and the small businesses, the medium businesses, the large businesses, all of that kind of thinking. So I love the idea of these conferences, and what I really love, what interests me the most, is collecting the data from it.
That's true.
To then bring that into a GPT and say, okay, what can we now analyze out of this? Not only from a strategic standpoint, but from a public-facing standpoint of sharing that information, to share it with people, to educate. And then I think we are going to create a new sort of learning model that I don't know.
You're just not leaving the discussions in the room, but you are learning from it. That's extraordinary idea. So you are collecting all the transcripts and you are sort of processing that, and you are letting the model tell you, hey, this is what you have collected. These are the action items, right? And these are the follow-ups, and these are the next steps.
Yeah.
I think that can be an amazing experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're ready to do it. And that's the good part. We're not at this point. I've said it before, but I think information has become a commodity. We talked about it a little bit. I've said that data is like oil, right? But you have to refine oil for different applications. You don't put, when you go to the gas pump, people might wonder, why are there 3 different octanes? Well, because they perform differently in different, engines, vehicles. But then you can have jet fuel and, all these things. So when we take raw data material and we refine it for different reasons, which are really, it's a limitless concept of analyzing.
Right.
So, any kind of dreamy things, like bigger vision, wondering for people that might be interested in that kind of thinking. What's the biggest kind of outcomes that you see down the road, decades from now? Where do we land?
Yeah, that's a question I keep thinking, and I agree with you. Data is a true asset these days. It's a digital asset. Like, we have physical assets, then you have like your real estate asset. Data is another kind of asset that can drive a lot of value. And I think in future, I see, like how we can process pictures, photos, and create stories out of that. That can be another great idea, if somebody can, bring to the table. Because, if you see, like, we all collect pictures of our kids and parents. You shared earlier amazing story of a person that you brought to life from nowhere. Those are the pictures, right? And we all have thousands of pictures, thousands of videos, right? And if like we can create a story out of those, it's like you're creating autobiography itself, right? From those pictures, right?
Yeah.
So think about it, how much time you are saving for somebody, right? You created a story, or you having these parties and you give like you have for someone like graduation party, or you have like a retirement, and you give like feed certain kind of images or information that you had, and then it creates like nice story for someone.
That's a brilliant way to illustrate what you were saying earlier with quantum, which is currently the generative AI tools that we have will only ingest a limited amount of data. And that's because we don't have enough energy, enough data centers. People may not quite understand that yet, but the capacity
Yeah.
for our system to ingest images.
Yeah.
But with quantum, with where we're headed, you could take a lifetime of
Yeah.
biographical data, the image, all the pictures you've ever
True.
taken, and this is currently possible now, but you have to do a couple different
Yeah.
architectural things.
It
but
takes time.
Yeah.
I think we all lose patience nowadays because
Yeah.
we want fast results. Another area I think another dream, as you said, like vision is in the medical sector, right? I want to see, we find cure for cancer,
Yeah.
cure for dementia. And I think if we are able to process data faster from previous patients and from the experiments that are happening in the lab, it takes years like to to get the cancer treatment to the field, right? It takes like many, many years because of the compliance reasons and all that. So I would like to see that process fast, and that something happen, we are able to find cure for these things where if it happens to someone, it's a lot of struggle, right, for people. So medical sector can be another big area for, where quantum computing can yield really, really not only meaningful outcomes, but also something that society will never forget, right?
No.
It will be like another evolution to the humankind, in
Yeah.
my view.
So the way that works in medical is that, a doctor can have a lifetime of experience, and that experience then allows them to analyze symptoms and
Yeah.
make a diagnosis. But
Yeah.
with even now currently with just generative AI, you're able to look at an injury. Even I've
Yeah.
used it in ways that
Yeah.
it directs me and has made health decisions easier.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's incredible already, but with quantum, these are going to be instantaneous.
Yeah, we are on that path,
Yeah.
right? I think we have seen some success, but yeah, I agree with quantum.
Yeah.
It can be different results.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing results.
So with all of this, because we both tend to think really big picture and we can see some of these things that are coming, where do you think the time is? There's kind of an idea of time price out there with this guy George Gilder. He wrote a great book on fiber, life after Google. But so he talks about time price, and it's really the cost of things going down as we gain knowledge, and we are hard fought knowledge, not just simple things, but the challenges. So that's a time period factor. Like, what do you see how could we break down barriers? And I think we've kind of talked about that with the conference. That's a very direct way to do it. But how do you see the hidden obstacles? What are some of the hidden obstacles that are holding people back and moving quickly to get to some of these really aggressive outcomes to speed things up?
I think like what you have done with this building. You got the building. It was an old architecture. It was not sustainable, and you converted this into a piece that will last forever, or at least for next
For a while.
50 years, right, or so. But it looks different.
Yeah.
You could not have achieved what you are achieving today, like having talk lab, gravity in that old building. So that's, if you see that's analogy, I think the constraint that people don't want to experiment, people don't want to change. They are so comfortable in their own zone. So that is the biggest hurdle in my view. I think in the technology landscape that's changing very fast, I think we need to get ready to experiment fast, and not fearful of making mistakes. It's okay, mistakes you made, learn from it, move fast, right? So that is kind of mindset we need to have in the leaders who are leading these big institutions, firms, or cities. But then you see a lot of constraints, right? Moving things fast. So I think more and more experiment you can do, I think better and better you can become. Even like for students, like there's a fear, now the number of developers can be reduced, because of the chat GPT or cursor or whatever. Lot of coding can happen, it's on. But I always tell all the young minds, and even like people like who are looking for a job or fearful of losing their job, that there are opportunities. There will be new kind of opportunities that will come with invent of new technology, right? Because you need people to kind of train these models, people and processes and technology tools. But people need to be ready to change. They cannot keep saying, I know Excel and I can find a new job, or I know C++ and now I will find I need to find job only in C++. Now you need to know how to use cursor along with C++, right? Or how to use a tool that can help you to code, how to prompt. So without ready for change and ready to experiment, I don't think we can prosper, or we can we can utilize the full potential of what we are seeing in the technology today.
Well, and you're an important leader in this moment, which to hear you say that, it just makes me want to ask the question, like, what do you need to empower that vision? Like, what can people do to help you start to unpack that? Because I agree with that 100%. I think the fear of failure has been kind of embedded in our culture, and they say the West Coast fails fast. So to bring that mentality here, what can people do to help you, to empower you in your role?
I think it's me need to do I think the leaders need to do. People just follow the leader. If you see Martin Luther King Jr., Mahatma Gandhi, even Barack Obama, you take any leader, Abraham Lincoln, nobody thought like he would become a president. So they brought people together. So I think it's on the leaders who need to constantly remind the people that this is possible. So they need to leave the negativity behind, leave the constraint behind. Constraints will always be there. I also feel constraint every day, like in day-to-day things, right? But I think leaders need to have that mindset where they find opportunity in every crisis. They find room for improvement everywhere. Anytime you see a problem, just like the way I think, okay, this is a room for opportunity. Like if I'm not getting the answers from the legal department for a long time, okay, there's opportunity where I can tell them, hey, you want to use Copilot that can help you. You still need to take decision, but Copilot will help you to read certain documents. You're not going to share the information. I'm going to give you maybe like a paid version where the information remains in our domain. You're not going to share anything securely. There's opportunity where I can empower your life more. So that's where I think you are making a small change, but that a small change will yield better results. And also I leverage that opportunity to kind of bring new technology for them. And then once you are successful, that with autopilot, maybe you can bring more machine learning, more data centralization, and all kind of things, because you need to build these champions across who can listen you and who can vouch for you that yes, the idea that this leader is giving me or this person is giving me is helping me. You need to create value every day. You cannot just talk. As soon as you start creating value, then you become you make your place in other people's mind. They'll come to you whenever they need help.
Right.
But you need to create value in whatever you do. Like I think your idea earlier, building sort of a place where young minds can come and do coding and experiment with AI. This is a future idea, right? That I think probably will shape as we bring, as my vision, like if we bring like software companies, quantum computing firms, high frequency trading firms, we will need those people. And if we have those people living right in the center of Aurora, like we have a win-win situation.
Yeah.
So I need to keep, or any leader, they need to keep reminding their people like, hey, this is what we can do, because you have the 5,000 feet view. And people on the ground sometimes are very fearful of things because they see things on the ground. But you can say, okay, but like, okay, the obstacle is only for a 10 meter, but after that there's a green path.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
That's where I think you need to have that as a leader. If you have that 5,000 feet view, and then you need to educate your people like, okay, there's a path ahead, which is going to be just like, you need to come a little bit more far. Yeah.
What a beautiful way of putting that, because I do think you hit on all the key parts there. So when you get over some of those obstacles, what's the world look like for your kids? Like what do you think that's going to look like? I think it's an abundant future, but we've got to get over this. And it is. I mean, I've worked, my wife and I have worked very hard to be here, and it's because we do believe there's a future, and you do have to reinvent what was into what is going to be.
Yeah.
So this future, what is that going to be like for young people, do you think?
I think future is gonna be it's gonna be bright. I'm very hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I think we also have faith in mind
Mm-hmm.
that things gonna be good, because faith, in my view, is very central to what you do. You face every day so many problems. You try to solve most of them.
Mm-hmm.
But then faith is something that reminds you that tomorrow will be a better day,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful for a bright future, and we all are working hard for that bright future. Like if you compare my life, um, from last 20 years or 30 years, I never imagined that I will be having a podcast with you here, right? Or
Mm.
I will be a CIO of Aurora. But if you keep working hard every day, it happens. I think we all are working hard for creating a better Aurora here, and it's opportunity for us. That Aurora, we know we are facing problems, right? The downtown has to be revived, but this is an immense opportunity for us,
Mm-hmm.
because we can start from ground zero,
Yeah.
and there is sky is the limit. Then if you see the growth of Naperville, and the reason I'm giving this example, because I have seen that growth. I have spent 20 years here, so I've seen in that time frame. There was nothing in Naperville downtown, and then Apple store came, a lot of restaurants came, right? And now you see a thriving downtown, like compared to us, right?
Right.
We also have Paramount Theater, which is like marquee place, right, in this, not only in this area but also like in Midwest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many good things that we can revive, and we can bring positive things. But if you see places like, which previous, I don't know, like, how we could have done it, but Costco's, right? There are two Costco's in Naperville,
Mm-hmm.
and Costco, like when I go, I never find a parking spot even during the weekdays.
Right.
So those are the kind of businesses, if you bring, then it becomes easy for administration to focus on other things, because
Yeah.
there's a revenue coming, right?
Yeah.
So I think, there's a lot of opportunities for us there to bring those kind of businesses, to bring them on the parallel technology,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of empower people like yourself, other entrepreneurs. And if together we work, we collaborate, I think for Aurora, I see a very, very bright future ahead. Maybe like this city can come to, again, to its glory.
Mm-hmm.
And we are on that path. And I feel like if you work hard, and you're truthful, and you're ethical, and you're transparent, and you're ready to collaborate with all kind of leaders, you know as I said earlier, like I in our earlier podcast, I referenced a sloka from Bhagavad Gita. The results will come itself.
Mm-hmm.
And for kids, I think, as I said, faith is one, but also I think the moral values also, there should be a balance, because those moral value that you teach to your kids, like different culture have different, but
Mm-hmm.
the values are same, right? The teachings, the process is different, but it's the same thing, that be a nice human being, be truthful, do good for others, always willing to give back, right?
Right.
More and more you give, I think, return, I think automatically, you will see different results. But I think those values need to are important, in my view, that you can teach as a parent.
Yeah.
If you see, I was listening to somebody, like, where you see a lot of problems happening, is where right parenting could not happen. Like kids unfortunately did not have like both the parents, or I think so. That's another thing I would
Mm-hmm.
say, with the technology evolution, how we can also keep focusing on the old values, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a balance of old and good, old and new, right?
Yeah.
So we need to keep experimenting, but also we need to learn from past, and we need to like have a blend of those things, right?
Yeah, Ram, I mean, again, I love this conversation because it continues to go full circle, right? And the idea of being able to analyze my favorite, I think it was the very first college class I took. Dr. White said, those who fail to recognize history are destined to repeat it. We now don't have to keep, written notes and try to take years to create a corpus of data that then we maybe ascend to some high level in academia or in business to then maybe disseminate to a few people. We now can analyze, we can analyze collectively what's going on. And I think you're 100% right. I love that you went there on, there is a fabric of our culture that is important. This isn't about technology is in and of itself, I think doesn't really mean anything. It's the pursuit of better tools, more sophisticated tools. Even in, I have a friend that I do construction with. I love building with him, but he does it professionally every day, and he always has better and better tools. Those tools just get better.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. The tools have just gotten so ubiquitous. Like they're available to everyone. It's not a barrier.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there could be a barrier that in certain regions we don't yet have high-speed internet at a home or whatever, but that's why we built this resource. We want these doors can be open to people that want to use high-speed internet. We now have in the building 3 fiber lines. We have the city fiber. We have the ability to give people access to things if they want it. So I'm really hopeful. Like, I cannot believe that I get to have these conversations with you. So I'm so grateful. Really appreciate it, Ram, for you taking the time to talk through your vision on where the city's headed and where culture is going to be impacted by it. So thank you
so much for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, let's keep doing it.
Yep, thank you.